not be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein.
Blood defiles the land. This land we standing on is defiled by Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian blood. And you cannot cleanse the land of the blood that's shed therein, but by what?
But by the blood of him that shed it.
Is the man that shed this blood here today? No? Is he here today? No? Is his blood still here today? Yes, because it runs through you, and it runs through you.
The letter J wasn't invented till 400 years ago. You should have known that. So why you calling him Jesus? What does he think when he sees us? I gotta rest on the Sabbath, even though I am a savage. You eating pork is a habit. Coronavirus a panic. Gotta wear your mask in public. Democratic, how you love it. It ain't about you, it's the money. Now I'm cooking, start the oven. Spirit cooking what they into. Blood gang like the menstrual. Now I'm talking to your mental. Pen or pencil, pick utensil. Better go follow commandments, unless they were not given to your nation. Contradiction in your habits, even your prayers abomination. I was trying to live life like tightrope on a lifeline. Yahweh knew I was built for this, so he put me through the furnace. Now I'm feeling like killing 9 needle mites at a time with the anger of a slave. Hit you with the Bible, then I read the scripture as I flip the page. Ain't no telling what the Ruach got in store for me. When I'm with him, I am not lonely. Kill a demon, leave a widow. When you speak his name, I told you that it's not a riddle. It's Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie. I ain't gon' cut it to you any other way. If you living in sin, then you gon' probably die. Cops are killing us in broad daylight. Don't you know that it's a homicide? I'm just waiting for Hamashiach. You just counting what Takashi got. In this matrix, you a polygon. I'm a spirit when your body's gone. Pull up on me, I got Bible on me. Babylon, they eating that baloney. I don't worship, I do not condone it. Work on Sabbath, then you acting phony. End times, that prophecy. You calcified, but I could see. You voting for democracy. Reptilian philosophy. Goddamn dust and Deuteronomy. At the bottom of economy. Israel is who they wanna be. Edomites aren't really fond of me. I was in ocean when it was split. I was escaping my nemesis. Look in the ocean for evidence. Still 89 and it's ever since. You are the blood of your ancestors. Live by the sword and you die by the sword. Guess what? I'm ambidextrous. Living so close to the eye of the storm. Say his name how it's supposed to be. Exodus will expose the weak. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, get close to me. Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Exodus 3:14. I am that I am, yeah. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Do it for Issachar. Do it for my people. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. They told you that white guy was Jesus. Well, that was a lie.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. So I want to start this lesson by giving all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, and I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? So this lesson that I'm going to do real quick is going to be on husbandry, right? And actually, let me share this tab real quick. It's going to be on husbandry, right? And what put me in the spirit to do this lesson, y'all let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me see. what put me in the spirit to do this lesson is I came across an old picture. I know most of y'all probably saw it. I came across a picture of Malcolm X teaching on husbandry, right? I believe it was about maybe 50 years ago, around that far back. And and it's not sharing the screen. I wanted to. 1 second. Okay, there it is. There it is. Okay, so it's this picture right here, right? It says husbandry, and it's basically breaking down what husbandry is and what a man, husband, father, protector, provider, controller, elevator, authority, head, right? And of course, we do all of these things through the Most High, right? Okay, the water, Jomar, the brother Jomar, as y'all can see in the comments, that y'all can hear me. For those of y'all who don't know, the music or the song that I just put, I put at the beginning of this, is from that brother Jomar. If y'all want to check out his music, it's out on all music outlets, right? So this picture, as you see here, he was teaching a lot of brothers from the Nation of Islam, what it was called at that time, right? I'm honestly not sure if that's still what it's called nowadays, but he was teaching them about husbandry, right? This is something that, and actually I'll keep coming back to this picture just so we can look at it as a reference. Oh, Salakia. But this is something that isn't, in my opinion, is not taught enough, even when it comes to the truth, right? So we're going to talk about husbandry. So let's go. We're going to start in 1 Corinthians 3 and 9, right? 1 Corinthians 3 and 9. So it says, for we are laborers together with Yahweh. We are Yahweh's husbandry. Ye are Yahweh's building, right? So we are supposed to be laborers together with the Most High. We are supposed to be Yahweh's husbandry, and we are supposed to be Yahweh's building, right? The real men of the Most High are laborers together with the Most High, right? It says we're his husbandry and his building. In other words, men are supposed to be built up by the Most High, which is what? It's by the word, right? And then we are supposed to labor with him because we're supposed to build up with him, right? We're supposed to be building with him. He's building us up, and we are supposed to be building up our wives, our households, our family, right? Because we are his husbandry, right? So if actually, let's look at what the word husbandry actually means. For those of y'all who aren't familiar, husbandry definition. So this is the definition of husbandry, right? And Tawada, Danya Allah for posting up the verses, right? So I'm gonna post this up at the bottom so we can keep it in mind, right? So the definition of husbandry, it says the care, cultivation, and breeding of crops and animals, management and conservation of resources, right? So when we use this, when it comes to the man, right, we are the Most High's husbandry. Husbandry is the business, basically the business of a farmer, right? For example, agriculture, right? Anything that has to do with the tilling of land, right? To plant, to water, to grow, to harvest, right? It also can mean, if you look into other definitions though, it also can mean the raising and managing and fattening of cattle, right? It's anything that has to do with like being a farmer, basically, right? Or the working or managing of whatever the land produces, right? So we have to be laborers with the Most High in order to be real men, working to raise up, to water, and to grow everything and everyone he places with us or in our management and in our oversight, right? AKA in our families, our brethren, right? That he puts amongst us, and of course our households, right? So now if we look at the picture again, I'm gonna go back to it real quick. If we look at the picture one more time, And I'm gonna keep coming back to it just so that we can get we can break this down with the word, right? Because obviously they were so-called Muslims or of the Nation of Islam, but we're gonna try and break this down more so with the word, right? So the first one that it says is husbandry at the top, right? Which we just explained what husbandry was. Then it says husband, right? That's the first one. The first one that it says is we're supposed to be the husband, right? And then the last one says we're supposed to be the head, right? And if you think about it, these two really go hand in hand. So what does it mean to be a real husband, right? If you could I could pull up 1 Corinthians 11 and 3, which I'm sure many of y'all are familiar with. 1 Corinthians 11 and 3. So I'm just going to pull it up like this. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Christ is the Most High, right? So the first thing it takes to be a husband is to be the head, right? 1 Corinthians 11 and 3 says the man or the husband is the head of the woman or the wife, right? Just like the Most High is our top head, and of course our Messiah is above us as well, being our example that we're to live by, right? So as a head, if you think about it like this, we have to be the head physically. And what does the head do when we're talking physically, right? The head leads the body, right? Going back to, I always give examples when it comes to martial arts and things of that nature, whether it's wrestling, whether it's jujitsu, whether it's boxing, etc. They always tell you if you get the head to go one way, right, the body is going to follow it. Or in wrestling, if you get the, say you pin somebody down and you have the head facing this way, the body is either stuck because the direction the head is pointing in, or the body has to go with the head, right? It can't go opposite of the head, right? We're not owls and turn our heads all the way around. So basically, using that as an example, the man has to lead because he is the head, right? Especially the wife. And how or who are we supposed to lead them to? We're supposed to lead them to our heads, which is the Most High, right? Which ultimately is the Word, the Father, and the Son, right? Because we, as the husbands and heads, are, if we're not leading them, then our women will be running around in the world like a chicken with their head cut off, right? With no leader, with no head, with no direction, right? Like we see the majority of women doing right now, if you think about it, right? Even sisters that claim to be in the truth, we still see this because they have no direction, right? Because they have no physical or spiritual guidance, right? Because they have no head. Or maybe they do have a head and the head is not doing what he is supposed to be doing, right? So number one, just like with our physical bodies, obviously the head leads the body, right? Just like the husband leads a woman, right? So we have to be able to be that husbandry and be able to cultivate and water and lead our women in order to be the husbandry of the Most High, right? And be a husband and be a head, which was the first one in the picture, right? Which we know just by looking around that most men don't do this, right? Most men cater to women, right? Most men have that that feminine spirit of doing whatever the woman says to do, right? As a matter of fact, if you could pull up Proverbs 31 and 3, Baba Kashab, Proverbs 31 and 3. Most men will cater to the women, right? Most men have that feminine spirit of doing whatever the woman says to do, right? Of doing whatever is going to make her happy, right? Like in the world, how they have that saying, happy wife, happy life, right? But she's not the head, right? So the woman is the leader. The woman is the head, right? The woman gives direction to the man, right? The woman makes decisions and the man just follows along with it. This is the majority of relationships, how it is in these days, right? This is a complete role reversal, and it's actually a spirit reversal if you think about it, because this is the opposite of what the man was created to do, and it's the opposite of what the woman was created to do, right? It's the opposite of how the Most High set it up to be, right? The man is supposed to be the one leading the house, leading in prayer, leading the studies, leading in finances, investments, etc. Right? So let me read that verse real quick. Proverbs, this is Proverbs 31:3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Right? We're supposed to be the kings of the earth. How can we be the kings of the earth when we can't even be the kings of our own household? Right? That's something to think about. You can't give your strength to a woman, right? Like it says in Ezra's, many there have been that go out of their wits and sin and perish for women, right? This is why the man has to be the husband and the husband has to be the head, or else the whole house is going to be out of order, right? If my head is out of order, the whole house is going to be out of order. It just trickles all the way down, right? This is why so many women got that manly, loud, clamorous. If you could pull up Proverbs 9:13, clamorous spirit, because they are spiritually the man of their relationships, right? Proverbs 9:13. The foolish woman is clamorous; she is simple and knoweth nothing. That's one of my son's favorite verses, right? Loud women and women that act like men are foolish. Period. Right? What's the opposite of foolishness? It's wisdom. So in other words, these loud and manly women, they don't even have the basics of wisdom. Because if they did, they know that a virtuous woman is soft-spoken, right? A virtuous woman is discreet, right? A virtuous woman doesn't have all the attributes and the spirit of a man on her, right? So Proverbs 9:13, a foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple and knoweth nothing. When you have a woman that's always she's got that loud and manly and demanding spirit, it's because she is taking the spirit of the man. And 99 times out of 100, it's because the man is taking on her spirit, the spirit she's supposed to have. He's taking on the quiet, submissive spirit, right? So the women that are like this don't have any wisdom or biblical wisdom, right? And as a matter of fact, a real man of the Most High, to be straight up, a real man of the Most High isn't going to put up with no loudmouth, contentious, controlling woman, right? Because that's wicked. That's wicked as hell for a woman to even be like that in the first place. If you could get Proverbs 28:4, Proverbs 28:4. Let me pull up this. So this is First Ezra's 4:26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. Many men in this generation especially are serving the woman, right? They have run out of their wits. They've gone out of their minds. They're not going to follow the word because they'd rather follow this woman. They're not going to serve the Most High because they'd rather serve a woman, right? And many men do that just so they can get what they want from a woman, right? Verse 27, many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. Now, when we were in the world, we all know that we've done this for women, right? I'm pretty sure it's probably mostly brothers on here right now. Anyway, we've all sinned for women at one point or another in our lives, right? But there's many brothers that are out here spiritually perishing, right? Perishing for women. They're not going to try to teach them. They're not going to try to say anything, correct them. They're going to suffer sin upon them and suffer sin upon themselves. Why? Because they just want to get whatever it is out of that woman, which we know the majority of the time it's sex, right? But they go out of their wits, right? They become servants for the woman. They're going to serve her and do whatever they got to do just to get what they want. And then guess what? That causes them to err. And if they don't get out of it, out of that sin, the wages of sin is death, right? So as I was saying, a man of the Most High isn't even going to put up with that type of a woman, right? A man that's keeping the laws of the Most High, actually, let me go down. He's going to contend with that type of woman, right? This is Proverbs 28:4. They that forsake the law praise the wicked. So when brothers don't, they forsake the word, they forsake following the law, right? They're going to praise these wicked women, right? They're going to become servants for those wicked women. They're going to run out of their wits and praise these women, literally, right? But such as keep the law, contend with them. When you are keeping the word of the Most High as a man, right, you are actually going to be contending against, you're going to be set against that type of a woman, right? That can be, or a wise man is just not going to deal with them at all, right? But I know that there's some brothers that are stuck in the situation where the female doesn't want to leave and they're already married. She doesn't want to follow the word and things of that nature. So that has to run its course, right? But you're going to be contending with that type of woman is the point that I'm making, right? Let me see. Maricelis Selena Urenia. Can it be because he doesn't speak too much of his mind to her to let her know of things to be one with each other? I'm not sure I understand that fully, but can it be because he doesn't speak too much of his mind to her to let her know of the things to be one with each other? So the biggest problem, and I've talked about this with many brothers and sisters, right? The biggest problem with marriages, the reason they don't work out, which, not to get too off topic, I'm just going to give you one or two verses, right? The biggest problem is they are not on the same accord. They're not, man, this keeps opening in the new window every time. Let me try Google. If you could pull up 1 Peter 3, 7 through 9, I believe. 3, 7 through 9. Real quick. I think, okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so when it comes to the husband, before you even get married, but I know there's a lot of brothers in the situation or even sisters in the situation where they're already married, right? Okay, referring back to the roles changing. Okay, Khan. So let me read this real quick, and then hopefully it'll give you some wisdom on that, right? So 1 Peter 3 and 7. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge. One of the biggest problems with husbandry in general, right? Whether it be before you get married as a man or as you're married as a man, most husbands, right? Most husbands do not dwell with their wives according to knowledge. What is knowledge? It's the word, right? This is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We are supposed to be dwelling, living, and dealing with our women according to the word, right? So when it comes to he's not speaking his mind and things of that nature, right? Leviticus 19, 17 and 18, it tells you that you're not supposed to suffer sin upon your woman, right? When a woman is taking that role as the man of the house, he's not correcting her, right? Not only is he suffering her to do wrong, but he's suffering himself to do wrong as well, which goes right along with dwelling with them according to the word, right? The man has to be willing and able to lead, right? Because that's another big thing that I know. I talk to a lot of sis, well, it's more sisters, right? But even brothers too. But sisters will say, oh, well, you know, he's willing to court me. He's willing to start learning the word. He's willing to do this, right? If you told me, for example, hey man, we're hiring at this job and it's $1 million a year, but you have to be a scientist or an engineer or something, right? Hey, well, I'm willing to make $1 million a year, right? But does that mean that I have the skills and necessary to do that job well? No, right? And that's the position that a lot of sisters are finding themselves in. Like, oh yeah, well, this dude is willing to court me. This dude is willing to be my husband. He is willing to be a father to my children. But does he have the skills and the spirit necessary in order to do that? Right? Because I guarantee you, if I applied for a job of an engineer and I haven't even been to school for that, they're not going to hire me. Right? But a lot of sisters are real quick to just, okay, you're hired. And he doesn't have the credentials. He doesn't have the spirit. He doesn't have the knowledge, right? Like it says here, he doesn't have the knowledge to be that husband or to be that head in the first place, right? He cannot give honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel. He cannot be heirs together of the grace of life. A lot of sisters that are coming into the truth, this happens as well. They want to be an heir, right? What is an heir? It's someone who inherits something, right? They want to inherit the grace of life. They want to inherit the kingdom, right? But if the husband's not dwelling with them according to knowledge, then guess what's going to happen? Your prayers be not hindered. When the woman and the man aren't on one accord, right? They aren't of one mind, like we're going to read here. It can lead to your prayers being hindered, because guess what? There's a lot of sisters that they seem sincere, things of this nature, but then they get with someone who's not a husband, and now they're married, and he's not following the word. So guess what? As the head of the house being out of order, he's falling under the curses, right? Deuteronomy 28:15. If you will not hearken to the voice of Yahweh your God, to do all these statutes and commandments which I command thee this day, all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you, right? So even if the woman is trying to follow sincerely, if she gets with a man that's wicked, she is going to inadvertently be hit by those curses, because the man's the head, and that's just going to trickle down, like I said, right? So going back to what I was saying at the beginning, verse 8, finally be ye all of one mind, right? Let me pull it up on here. Finally be ye all of one mind. Just that part, stop right there, right? Me and the brother Jomar talked about this not too long ago as well, and I was talking to multiple people, right? Finally be ye all of one mind, right? One of the biggest problems is in marriages, most of the couples are not of one mind. You either got the brother that's on fire for the Most High, or you got the sister that's on fire for the Most High, right? You got one of them that kind of, keep Sabbath, but I'm not really going to do this other stuff. I'm not going to study and things of that nature. And then you got the other one that's going hard for the Most High, right? That's why Amos 3:3 says, can two walk together except they be agreed, right? You shouldn't be walking together if you're not in full agreement, right? So let me so not to get off topic, let me go back up. Oh yeah, so Leviticus 19:17, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. One of the biggest things that men in general have a problem with, and I even see this, and this is something more before that sisters and brothers have to check themselves on before they get married, right? You have to be able to correct whoever you're going to be with. As a brother, you have to be able to correct that woman. If she's in a contentious spirit, if she gets clamorous and loud and all of these things, imagine how much worse it's going to get when she's really comfortable with you and she's your wife, right? It's going to get so much worse. But on the other hand, the brother, a lot of brothers are scared to correct women. And you can even see this, of course, in person, but even on Instagram, you got brothers or Facebook or whatever it is, right? I only have Instagram, but you see brothers that claim to be in the truth, and they post all this stuff about women need to be modestly dressed and discreet and all these things. And then they're liking pictures of females that are dressing completely indiscreet, right? Of women showing all of their bodies, right? Which is completely hypocritical, right? So then this was the Deuteronomy 28:15. So going back to it, right? The man has to be able to correct the woman as well, right? And as I was saying, like in Deuteronomy 28:4, it says they that keep the law are going to contend with the wicked. So if you have a man, right, that it doesn't even bother him when females are being wicked, right? I can tell you personally, I can't put up with a woman being disrespectful. I can't put up with a woman being clamorous, none of that. Like I won't deal with that at all, right? A real man of the Most High is not going to put up with that type of a woman. But I tell you what, a simple, right, a childish man, right, a mental or a spiritual little boy, he will definitely put up with that type of woman, right? Like I said earlier, not only will he put up with it, he'll submit to a woman like that, right? Because he doesn't have the husband's spirit in the first place, right? He has a wife's spirit. He has a submissive spirit. He has a feminine spirit, right? I don't know if some of y'all saw that the post that I made earlier. Well, I'm not even gonna get it because it's gonna slow down my connection. But Matthew 17:21, right? This spirit goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. If you got that type of a spirit, you need to pray and you need to fast that spirit away. Because I'm telling you, if you go into a marriage with that type of spirit as a man, with a feminine spirit, or as a sister with a manly spirit, your marriage is not going to work out, right? You are setting yourself up for failure, right? And that, unfortunately, that's the majority of marriages today, right? So let's go back to that picture real quick. Let's get to the second one. So the second one is father, right? The second one is a father. And of course, first it says the man is the husband, right? And second is the father. Because if you have sex with a woman, you are supposed to see that as marriage. You marry the woman first, and then you become the father, right? You should, in reality, and in the order that the Most High set it up, that's the way that things should be done. You should be the husband, be married, and then be the father of her children. But of course, in this society, biblical marriage is extremely overlooked and even frowned upon, right? And I had posted not too long ago, maybe two days ago or a few days ago, maybe 3, about sex being marriage and things of that nature. And man, let me tell you, I had to restrict a lot of people, just stupid comments. But it all comes from having a westernized mind, a westernized mindset, right? That's what it always comes down to. So okay, Khan. So the brother posted up the Matthew 17:21. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. If you got that type of spirit, and you know you do, right? You need to pray and fast from that. Tanya Allah, they got all these mainstream artists passing the same women around promoting adultery. Khan, to be honest, I really don't try and keep up with that, but I know what you mean. When I would, I like this rapper and this rapper and this, and they're all sharing the same women, you know what I mean? They really are doing that purposely. They're really promoting sin to us, right? When you look at their music, what are they promoting? They're promoting doing drugs. They're promoting calling our women bitches. They're promoting whoredom, the way they dress, or like I don't know, someone had posted it not too long ago about the 3, I believe it was 3. It looked like Israelite sisters that were like kissing or something in a music video, right? They promote all types of wickedness, right? They promote all types of wickedness, right? But going back to the second one is the father, right? Being a father, right? So many men, anybody can be a dad, right? If you have good semen, right? If your fish can swim, it's what an old friend of mine used to say, if your fish can swim, you can be a dad, right? But it takes a lot more to be a father, right? Many men claim to be fathers, right? But in reality, they're not. They're just biological dads, right? They're not fathers. A father is a teacher. A father is a nurturer, right? A father is a disciplinarian. That's a big one that's missing in today's society. Fathers don't discipline their children, right? And that's why children are so, we've gotten to the level of evil and wickedness at such a young age because they don't have the father figures set up to be disciplinarians, to be teachers, right? And someone who's there for their father, for their children, to guide them and to teach them according to the word. This has been missing for generations already, right? For the most part, right? I know there's a few exceptions out there, because I know a sister that I just talked to not too long ago as well, and she said that, her father and mother had taught her and her brother that they were Israelites since they were children, right? They were even learning Hebrew and things of that nature. But that's more the exception to the rule, right? That's not the rule. For in general, the majority of children aren't raised with someone to teach them according to the word, right? They just have someone that's just around them, right? But in reality, if you could pull up Proverbs 22:6, Proverbs 22:6. In reality, we're supposed to be training up our children, right? Train up your children in the way they should go, so that when they're older, they aren't going to depart from it, right? But how can a man, think about it like this, how can a man who is not a man, right, train up a child according to the word? How can he teach something that he doesn't even accept or know or live out in his own life, right? If he's not accepting, and he doesn't know and he doesn't study daily the wisdom and the nurturing of the Most High, right? How can they then pass that down to their child or to their next generation, right? It's impossible. If you could pull up what is it, Wisdom of Solomon 3:11 through, I believe it's 13 or 14, 11, 12. I believe it's 13 or 14. Wisdom of Solomon 3:11 through 14. Baal. So this is Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Right? So like I said, there's no way for somebody to train up their child. How can a man train up his child or his children, right, if he doesn't even know this word himself? Salakia, kick me out real quick. But Khan, like I was saying, how can a man that doesn't know the wisdom of the Most High, right? He doesn't know the nurturing of the Most High, as we're about to read. How can he then nurture his child or his children with that wisdom that he doesn't even have himself, right? So let me go. This is Wisdom of Solomon 3:11. It says, "For whoso despiseth wisdom and nurture, he is miserable." Right? The majority of men despise the wisdom and nurture of the Most High. Right? Well, how do you know they despise it? Right? They're not saying, "Oh, I hate it," and blah blah blah. When you don't want to partake in this, right? When you don't want to partake in this word, when you don't want to be a man according to it, and you don't want to live according to it, then you do despise it, right? When you don't want the nurture from the Most High, you are going to be miserable. Because guess what? The word is nurture for you. From the Most High is perfectly balanced, right? Perfectly balanced. So when you read Deuteronomy 28, like we just read verse 15 earlier, if you read verse 1 through 14, it says, if you follow the Most High and keep his commandments, I'm going to give you all these blessings, right? That's nurturing. That's nurturing from the Most High. But if you don't want to keep it, then guess what? From 15 to 68, it's a whole bunch of curses, right? And that's why you're going to be miserable. That's why most men are miserable. That's why men are out here trying to get with as many women as they possibly can. And guess what? How's that working out for you? You're still miserable. It wasn't good enough the one you got last night. Now you got to try and get another one. But this is why men are smoking weed all the time, right? Because they're miserable. They want an escape from reality. This is why men are drinking all the time. They want an escape from reality, right? When you despise the wisdom of the Most High, when you despise his nurture, which is following his words so you can be blessed, you're going to be miserable. It says, and their hope is vain, their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable. Verse 12. Verse 12, their wives are foolish and their children wicked, right? When a man despises wisdom, like it says in verse 11, he doesn't want to follow the word, then what happens to his woman? What happens to his wife? She's going to be foolish, right? Because he's not going to check her. He's not going to correct her. He's going to let her go into that manly spirit. And guess what? A lot of times, it's sad to say, but it's pretty much inevitable at that point, because if the man is not being a man, right, and the woman knows he's not being a man, I have children, she then feels subconsciously, she may not even realize it, that she has to be the head, right? Because somebody's got to lead the house, somebody's got to lead the children, right? So the wife is going to then, like I said, take that spirit reversal, and she is going to be the husband. She's going to take on the position of husbandry, of watering her children and her house and all of these things, right? And it can work to an extent, but like I said, it's out of order, right? And their children wicked. So why are the children going to be wicked? Because the head of the household is wicked, right? It's like, I remember one of my first jobs that I had, it was picking grapefruit, right? Picking toronjas. And the dude that was in charge, there was some, like, the head person, and they would come, and when they were there, they were like, hey man, come on, we got to hurry up and blah, blah, keep picking faster, whatever, right? Then the person that was actually, like, I guess you could say the shift manager, even though that's not what they called him, the one in charge, when the head person wasn't around, when this person was in charge, he would be laid back. You know what? Yeah, take a break, blah, blah. He would even go off to the side where no one could see him. And he would be smoking weed, and you come back all high. All right, let's do it. And then, nah, you know what? Let's take another break, right? When the head is slack, when the head is not in order, then the majority of the time, everyone else under him is going to be out of order, and it's going to be wicked, right? And we'll just read the first part of this next verse. Wisdom of Solomon 3:13. It says, their offspring is cursed, right? Their offspring is cursed. Why? Because, again, when the man doesn't want to follow the word of the Most High, going back to this, Deuteronomy 28:15, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. When this happens to the man, right, whether he's trying to be the head of the house or not, it's going to trickle down to his family, to his wife, and to his children, right? Whether it be the simplest example I could give you, let's say his finances get cursed, right? His finances get cursed, and now he can't pay the bills. Well, guess what? Now the wife and the children don't have nowhere to live either, right? So if you're not a man of the Most High, your children are wicked, are going to be wicked 99 times out of 100, and they're going to be cursed, right? And that's not my words, right? That's the Most High's words. And women, if you really think about this, right, women perpetuate these cursed children. They keep the cycle going over and over and over. Why? Because they don't choose men with wisdom, right? They don't choose men with wisdom. And I'm talking to the majority of females, right? Of so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, and Israelites scattered to the four corners of the earth. The majority of women don't choose men. They choose grown boys, right? They choose men according to age, right? They may be, because like I'm sure many of y'all know, just like me, I know 20-year-old, 30-year-old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, supposed to be men, but they're actually just grown boys, right? They don't have the spiritual or mental capacity to be husbands, to be heads, to be fathers, right? And their excuse will be, oh, but he loves me, right? He'll do anything for me. Well, of course he'll do anything for you, right? Of course he will, because you are spiritually the head, right? He's spiritually got the feminine spirit. He's spiritually the woman. So he'll do anything except lead you in righteousness as a head, except lead you as a head to his head, to the Most High, right? And that's when you really think about it, that's what a lot of women are attracted to, right? They got that Jezebel spirit. I don't know if y'all saw that post. The brother Humble for Yah. Well, he used to be known as Humble for Yah. I believe his name now is Anaviel or Anaviel or something like that. But the brother that makes music, Humble for Yah, he had made a post, and I was talking to him about it, about, you know, the whole Jezebel thing. Jezebel always wanted power, right? That's really deep down inside what a lot of women are attracted to, right? They're attracted to that power that it gives you, when the man puts you up on that pedestal, right? The power that that man gives you by allowing you to be the head, right? When in reality, the man is supposed to be the head, like we just read. A matter of fact, if you could give me Isaiah Isaiah 13 and 12 and Isaiah 32 and 2. Isaiah 13 and 12 and 32 and 2, right? Because as we know, in these last days, the man is the one that's going to be more valuable than fine gold, right? The man is going to be the hiding place in the place to come. But a lot of women act like it's the opposite, right? A lot of women act like it's the opposite. And when you really think about it, right, where did these women learn to choose bums, learn to choose boys over patriarchal, over austere men, right? Men of wisdom as their husbands? The majority of the time, again, it comes back to what? To the woman, right? Ezekiel said we would use this proverb against you, sisters, right? As a matter of fact, let me get it real quick. Ezekiel 16 and 44, real quick, and then I'll read what the verses I called. It's opening in a new tab again. I don't know why Bing always does that, but Google doesn't. Ezekiel 16 and 44. Says, behold, every one that useth proverbs shall use this proverbs against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is the daughter, right? As is the mother, so is the daughter. So let me read these two verses I called real quick, and then I'll come back to that point I was going to make, right? Isaiah 13 and 12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man of the golden wedge of Ophir. So if a man with wisdom and a man of the Most High is going to be more valuable than fine gold, then why are you picking some men as your husbandry, as your head, as the father of your children? Why are you picking a man that's worth pennies, right? You would rather have a man that's worth pennies, nickels, dimes, over a man of wisdom that is worth more than fine gold. It's because you don't know true value. It's because you don't know true worth. And it's because that's what you've been taught, right? Which we're going to get into in just a second. Isaiah 32 and 2, a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land, right? A man's going to be that hiding place when all these things come, right? When all these plagues come, because he's going to have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? But women don't understand that, right? They don't. Even sisters that are in the truth, I tell you, I've seen tens and tens and tens of them that choose men that aren't in the truth, men that aren't gonna be or aren't valuable as fine gold at this moment. They're not trying to follow the word, right? They're not studying to show themselves approved. They are not husband or father material, right? So like I said, where did they learn how to do this? They learned it from who? From their mothers, right? As it says right here, Ezekiel 16 and 44, behold, everyone that useth proverbs shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter, right? As is the mother, so is her daughter. 9 times out of 10, right? You pick sisters, right? Sisters pick a feminine man, right? Because your mom has a feminine man. You pick a simple man, a lazy, a stupid man, because your mom had that, or has that, or had two of them, or had five of them, or 10 of them, or many of them when you're growing up, right? As is the mother, so is her daughter, right? We read Proverbs 22:6. You were trained up seeing this loser type of man, right? And now you're older and you don't depart from it. Okay? And this is why we need real fathers and real husbands and real heads in the household, so that our younger women see what a real man is, right? Salakia, right? And it's planted in their minds. Because, like we said, husbandry, right? Husbandry is working the land. Our minds are the most valuable tilling ground, right? The most valuable garden, right? Which is why we have to plant in our daughters' minds what they need when they hit that age, right? And they know what kind of man they need to raise their children as well. Okay, because if they hit that age and all they've seen is those types of men, the cycle of cursed children continues and it perpetuates, right? Which brings us to the next one. Let me go back to the picture. I believe it's protector, right? I believe it's protector. So husband, father, protector, right? Protector. If you could pull up Ecclesiastes 7:12, Ecclesiastes 7:12. I'm gonna go back on the comments real quick. I know there was a couple I missed. Let me see. Sorry, sent by mistake. Yes. Doesn't even confront issues. Doesn't like no structure, no discipline. Okay, Constance. If it's a personal situation, if you talk about yourself, I mean, you can DM, ask permission from your husband first, of course, and then you can DM me through Instagram or through YouTube. I believe you can message as well if y'all both would like to do a counseling, right? Or women dressed in pants, sis, Kristen Cross. So that's another thing, right? That spirit. I was actually just talking to my daughter about this today, to my not my oldest, my second oldest daughter, right? She's what, 11, and she was saying, because she had a skirt on, she's staying at her mom's right now for a month during the summer, and I went to pick her up for a little bit, and she was saying about riding horses, and how would women, ride horses and this and that. And she was saying about how she was reading about how women didn't really start wearing pants until the 40s, 50s, 60s, around that era, right? And in when you think about it, it was really when World War II happened, and a lot of the men went overseas and went to fight and things of that nature. So they started hiring women to work in the factories to replace the workers, the men that went overseas, right? And that's when they really, really on a mass scale started wearing pants. And that's also where the I forgot what the woman's called, but the woman where she's like, oh, she's flexing and stuff, and it says you can do it too, or something like that. That was that first wave of feminism, right? And those pants, those breeches, really do put the spirit of a woman, or put the spirit of a man on a woman, right? Let me go back down real quick. This is true. Too fast to credit. There are guys in the truth who act like they are all about wisdom in the beginning. So I mean, let me pull up Sirach 4:29 real quick, right? That's a big problem. Being hasty is a huge problem, right? Being hasty is a huge problem amongst sisters, especially, right? Sisters especially, but some brothers as well, but sisters especially, because like we read in 1 Timothy 3:7, it says that the woman is the weaker vessel. Okay, the woman's the weaker vessel, meaning that obviously physically a man is physically stronger than a woman, but also mentally, she is going to want to give in to what that man says. She doesn't want to be alone, right? Like in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, it says that she desires for a man to rule over her, right? So because of that, a lot of men play on a woman's emotions and get her to be hasty, right? So this is Sirach 4:29. Be not hasty in thy tongue, and in thy deeds slack and remiss, right? When you're hasty, when you're too quick to credit him in your deeds, you okay, he says he's about wisdom. He's posting about wisdom. He's sending me verses, right? You can't be hasty because you're being too slack, and you're gonna miss the target that you're trying to hit when it comes to getting a righteous man, right? Let me get one more verse real quick. 6 and 7. Sirach 6 and 7. If thou wouldest get a friend or a so-called boyfriend, right? A man that you're courting, a husband, prove him first and be not hasty to credit him, right? This is like I said in a previous live. If an actor can, sometimes they record movies for months or even a year, 2 years recording, right? So think about it. If an actor can act for that long, I'm sure that a man that has spirits on him, right? If you're too hasty to credit him, he can act like he's whatever you want him to be. And this is why you have to test the spirit. And this is why you have to be not hasty to credit them, right? Let me go back to the picture real quick. Okay, so going back to a protector, right? Being a protector. This is Ecclesiastes 7 and 12. It says, for wisdom is a defense and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Okay, so wisdom is a defense, right? Wisdom of the word is definitely the biggest defense we have, right? And money is a defense, right? But wisdom gives life to them that have it. So number one, you got to have wisdom, right? To protect your family. Because if not, like I said before, you're not going to be able to protect them from the curses, right? Deuteronomy 28:15 all the way down to 68. And then you have more curses outside of that chapter as well, right? In Leviticus, you got curses. In Deuteronomy, other chapters, you got curses. You cannot protect your family without wisdom, right? So money, weapons, teaching them martial arts, right? Weaponry, those are defenses. Okay, but guess what? None of that is going to stop or even in the slightest way hinder the curses and them evil angels out here that are doing the Most High's work, right? If you want to pull that up as well, Psalm 78 and 49, Baba Kashaw, right? Because a lot of people don't realize that the Most High has evil angels out here. You cannot protect your family if you don't have wisdom to get on the Most High's good side in the first place, right? You have to be able to protect them by teaching them the word and making sure that they are trying to inherit the blessings instead of the curses, right? So let me just let me look at the comments. Okay, that was just the verses real quick. So the next one is, let me see, what provider, right? But let me read this real quick first. Psalm 78 and 49. He cast upon them the fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. You cannot protect your family, your children, your wife from evil angels unless the Most High wants you to, right? Which is by keeping his word to the best of your ability. That's the only thing that's gonna help to protect them, right? And like I said, also, teaching them certain things, survival skills, martial arts, that's profitable. But number one is wisdom. Number one is teaching them to follow the Most High, right? So if you could pull up 1 Timothy 5 and 8, 1 Timothy 5 and 8, right? So this is going to be number 4 on this list. Number 1 is a husband. Number 2 is a father. Number 3 is a protector. The next one's a provider, okay? And of course, these all go hand in hand, but I would say this one This one is one that's very common as well, right? This is one that's very, very common, um, in lacking in today's society, right? Being a provider, right? As we're going to see in just a minute. So it's right here, 1 Timothy 5:8. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. Okay, an infidel, for those of you who don't know, is a non-believer. If you're not providing for your home, if you're not providing for your wife, for your children, you are worse than a non-believer. Okay, if you're not providing for them spiritually, teaching them the scriptures, making sure they're studying, right? Making sure they're not being lazy, making sure they're following the word in your home, because as the head of your home, you're in charge of your home, right? If you're not correcting them, if you're not providing for them financially, right? You're living with your wicked family member or wicked friends because you can't provide for them financially. I've seen this many times too, right? If you can't even pay for the necessities for your children, for your wife, then you in reality aren't in position to even be a husband, to be a father, to be a protector, a provider, right? You are worse than an infidel at that point, right? You are not ready to be a head just yet. Now, with the Most High, of course you can, right? But how can you protect your family? Think about it like this, right? Going back to the protector and the provider, putting them together. How can you protect your family when you can't even provide them with a place to live, right? With a place away from wickedness, away from people who are going to spiritually affect them in a negative way, right? And I've heard brothers say, well, not August because we're in captivity, right? That's why I can't provide for them. Things of that nature. That's BS, man. Straight up, that's BS, right? Yahweh Shai said in Matthew, I believe it's 19:26. Let me get it real quick. Matthew 19:26. Let's see what Yahweh Shai said. But Yahweh Shai beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with Yahweh all things are possible, right? This is from our Messiah's mouth himself, right? Yahweh Shai said, with Yahweh all things are possible. It doesn't matter if you're in captivity. All things are possible with the Most High. With men, just as a man by yourself, okay, I understand. I know why you can't do it, because with men it might be impossible. But with the Most High, all things are possible. So if you can't provide, the reason you can't is because you are not doing it with the Most High. You're not with the Most High, and the Most High obviously is not with you, right? Because he loves them who love him. He loves them who are keeping his word, right? And going back to what the sister said, Sirach 4:29, you move too hastily, right? You move too hastily, and now you're in the position to be worse than an infidel, right? And I've seen this many, many times. You have to understand, as a man, if you say that you love the Most High and you're trying to follow him, but you're not in the position to be a provider and to provide for your household, then you should not get married at that point, right? You should pray and do your works to get in position to do it, because you're not supposed to put yourself in the position to be worse than an infidel. And if you're a woman, the same thing. You shouldn't put that man, if you claim to love him, in the position to be worse than an infidel, right? 1 second, y'all. Salakia. So like I was saying, as a man or as a woman, you cannot put yourself in the position by being hasty, right? To get married or to be a father or to get with a female. The majority of the time, you just wanted to get some as a man, right? You wanted to get some, you rushed in, or as a woman, you didn't want to be alone, right? And the man wasn't prepared to be a husband, a head, a father, a provider, right? and that's what happens, right? And now I've heard some sisters say, you know, well, when you do your wedding vows, even though we know sex is marriage according to the word, some people still like to do the ceremony and things of that nature, whatever, to each his own. But they say for richer or for poorer, right? So sisters will say that, well, it's for richer or for poorer. I don't care about money. It's not about money. And I agree, right? First and foremost, it's not about money, right? It's not. But it does take money to have a smooth marriage and have a family and have children, right? For richer or for poorer, meaning you don't want to start out at dirt poor, right? If you're at the bottom, how can you get poorer, right? And it's crazy to me how many sisters will choose a man that financially is dead broke, right? How can you think that that's going to work out smooth and then be mad later on when it doesn't work out, right? How can you be mad later on when you knew that this man couldn't provide for you in the first place, right? So let me pull up First Corinthians. It's another one of my son's favorite verses. Real short verse, but this can apply to anything in life, right? So it's First Corinthians 14 and 40. Let all things be done decently and in order is what it says. Also right here, let all things be done decently and in order, right? You have, the Most High is a God of order, and we being his husbandry, like we read in First Corinthians 3 and 9, we're supposed to be laborers with him. We have to do things decently and in order with him, right? So you have to be able to provide before you get married. You don't just say, oh, well, I'm going to have faith that later on he'll be able to do it. Well, guess what? He's going to be worse than an infidel until then, right? He's going to be inheriting or bringing in all these curses to the house until then. No, right? That's why things have to be done decently and in order. That man has to have the means or some means of providing for the woman, for the wife coming into the marriage, right? And this is one of the reasons why back in the days, men would have to pay a dowry in order to marry the woman, right? I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with that. I don't want to get too off topic, but men would have to pay a dowry, right? Because the woman was of value to the father and to that household. So he would have to pay a dowry, right? And another thing, actually, if you could pull up, what is it? Genesis 2 and 24, I believe. Genesis 2 and 24. Let's look at this real quick. Therefore shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. A man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, right? How many of y'all know people that don't do this, right? Nowadays, a lot of men get married, and what do? They move in the woman they married into their mom's house, into their dad's house. Or even worse, they move into the woman's mom's or dad's house, right? This is setting you up for a whole world of problems, especially if they're not in the truth, of course, right? If they're not trying to live by the word, right, as well. But either way, even if they are, you are just setting yourself up for failure because you're not providing for them, right? And financially is a big part of it, of course, after spiritually, right? But you have to be able, coming in, you have to be able to maintain the woman, right? And actually, let me get I know it's Sirach 25, Sirach 25, I think it's like 22, 23. Will be the last verse on this, on the provider, right? 25, I think it's 22. Sirach 25, Sirach 25 and 22, right? A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. As a matter of fact, I have it in my I have the Hebrew definitions in my Bible. 25 and 22. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impotency, and much reproach. Right? So impotence is shamelessness, right? It's wanting modesty, bold with contempt of others. Contempt is despising, right? So if a woman has to maintain the husband, whether it be financially, whether it be spiritually, telling him what to do, right? Trying to teach him, trying to get him to be in the word, trying to get him to provide, or if she's providing, she's going to be angry. She's going to be bold. She's going to be shameless. She's going to be wanting modesty, right? She's going to be doing all these things that are against the word, right? So when it comes to providing, there's an old saying, it's romance, or how does it go? Romance without finance is a nuisance, or a nuisance, right? It's going to be a pain. It's going to be a pain in the ass, for lack of a better term, right? So hold on, I know I saw a question up a little bit. Then we'll get to the next one, right? Where was it? Wow, so if a woman has always wanted for a man to rule over her, it's easier for her to get swayed because she's always waited for a man to be able to build certain things. So when it comes to that, right? Let me get it real quick. Genesis 3:16, I believe. Unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So since the very beginning, right, this is Genesis, the 3rd chapter, a woman desires a husband, okay? A woman is the weaker vessel, right? And she desires that he will rule over her because she was made as a helpmeet, right? Now, when it comes to this society and feminism and all the things that they have invented, of course, nowadays you have a lot more women that want something different. But the reason that they want something different is because of everything that has been invented, right? Let me just get that real quick and then I'll answer that. So it's Ecclesiastes 7:29. Lo, this only have I found, that Yahweh hath made man upright. So talking about the woman, he made the woman to have that desire to the man, right? That he rules over her. But they have sought out many inventions. There was no such thing as feminism 100 years ago, right? That was invented, okay? And that's what they sought out now. So now that's why so many women say they don't want a man to rule over them. But deep down in their spirit, their desire is to a husband for him to rule over them, right? So to answer your question, it is easier for a woman to be swayed because, like it says in 1 Peter 3:7, she's the weaker vessel, right? And this is why women have to cleave to the Most High and to knowledge and wisdom and understanding, and not be hasty, right? And not be so easy to, so gullible, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Not to be so gullible. As women, can we go to the gym and get physically stronger? So to be honest with you, that would be completely up to your husband, right? There's no, me in my house, I mean, we have every type of weight and all that type of stuff. I've done jujitsu and I used to do MMA professionally, so we have all types of weights and all types of stuff like that. But to me, even if I didn't have that, I would rather my wife be at home working out than out in the world, because I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 you go to the gym, dudes are going to try and hit up a female. And then again, you have to dress modestly, and the majority of females, at least the ones that I've seen that are in the truth, they don't even dress modestly when it comes to the gym, right? So, but again, that would be completely up to your husband. Let me go back down. As a man, is it wrong to provide for 2 households like for your mom's house and for your wife? Well, the thing that has to be on a case by case basis, right? That has to be on a case to case basis, because first of all, if the mom, for example, is married, then um that would be up to the husband to handle, right? That would be his duty. And what I'll tell you is, now this ain't a verse or nothing, but when I first got married to my rib, right, about going on 5 years ago, my uncle told me something that I'll never forget. He said, "Look, now you're getting married. Your family's number one," which of course the Most High is number one, right? But this is what he said to me. He said, "Your family's number one. Help out other people if you can, as long as it doesn't hinder your own family." Right? And I've always remembered that. I've always kept that with me. That was that uncle actually was my father figure growing up, because I didn't have I wasn't raised around my father, right? So I would say, as long as it's not hindering your household, there's nothing wrong with honoring your parents, right? This is Sirach chapter 3 and verse 3. Whoso honoreth his father maketh an atonement for sins, and he that honoreth his mother is as one that layeth up treasure, right? So if you honor and respect and help your parents, and that makes an atonement for sins, the Most High is going to be like, okay, you know what? You committed these sins, but now you're helping out your mom, right? Now you're laying up treasures in heaven, right? So I would say that that definitely is a possibility, but at the same time, like I said, it has to be a case by case basis. Because if, let's say, for example, your mom's wicked as hell. Let's say your mom's I live down in South Texas, and there's a lot of brujeria, which is like witchcraft, right? If, let's say, your mom, just as an example, is that wicked, and she's practicing that type of thing, and she's being a witch, right? This is Sirach chapter 12. When thou wilt do good, know to whom thou doest it, so shalt thou be thanked for thy benefits. Do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense. And if not from him, yet from the Most High. Right? So you're going to get paid back when you help a godly man or woman. You're going to get a recompense. You're going to get repaid. If not from that person, then from the Most High. Right? But then look at what it says down here. Give to the godly man and help not a sinner. Someone who's always occupied in sinning. You're not supposed to help those type of people. What's going to happen? I'm just going to jump down here for time's sake. It says, for else thou shalt receive twice as much evil for all the good thou shalt have done unto him. Right? So if this person, say your mom, the example you gave, you're going to receive twice the evil for trying to help this person. Because look at it this way. Maybe your mom, like I said, say she's a witch, a bruja, and she's going against the Most High. And then you're trying to be over here and help her out. And guess what? The Most High was punishing her. You just tried to go over the Most High's head. You tried to go over his punishment and try and fix it. So now you, in turn, are going to receive twice as much evil for all the good you did, because you just tried to help out someone that the Most High was actually trying to punish. Right? Let me go back down. All praises out the water. The word of Yahweh should always be the foundation to any marriage. It eliminates a lot of questions of who does what. Roles are defined and respected decently and in order. So Khan, that's the best comment so far, right? Shalom, Mark. If you think about it, right? If you really think about it, the word is, like people always say, Bible, biblical instructions before leaving earth. If they're your instructions, right? Or like the word says, it's instructions in righteousness. All you have to do is follow it. Like he said, the roles are defined. If you respect those roles and you do it, right, it's going to keep your marriage decently and in order. The word has to be the foundation. The word has to be, and this is why relationships don't work. Because you can have romance, right? Romance, and you can have love, all this worldly love and all these things. But guess what? Without the Most High, it's not going to stick together. It's like I said, I think yesterday, the word is the glue that holds a couple together. If you don't have the word holding you together in the middle, there's no glue there, you're not going to be held together, right? Plain and simple. Let me go back to the picture, right? So the next one, so we went over husband, father, protector, provider, controller, right? Controller. Let me just go back down on the comments. Okay, yeah, that was it. So controller, the man is a controller, a controller. I know some sisters, right, with that feminist spirit are going to say, oh, hell no, man. No man's going to control me. But guess what? Just like the Most High's word is supposed to control our lives, right? When you think about it, like the brother Jomar just said, if the word is our instructions, guess what? Those instructions are supposed to control our lives, right? And like we started with 1 Corinthians 11:3, the Most High is our head, right? He is controlling us with his word. So then in turn, we have to control our household and women and children with that same word, right? We are in charge of making sure that that happens, right? So just like the Most High's word is supposed to control our lives, the man is supposed to control the household. But here's the thing. He's supposed to control the household according to knowledge, like we read a little while ago, right? 1 Peter 3:7. He is supposed to dwell according to knowledge. The reason you don't want a man to control you or your house the majority of the time, to the sisters, is either because you still don't have that submissive spirit, right? Instead, you have that I want to be in control, I want to run things spirit, or because you ain't never seen what a real man controlling his house is supposed to look like, right? A real man knows that being in control doesn't mean his woman or his women are slaves, right? It actually means that he has just been put in control or as an overseer, and he has to make sure that the women and the whole house are moving according to the word that he is actually moving according to as well, right? That they are moving according to the will of the Father, just like Yahushua did, just like we are trying to do. Because we men, again, are the husbandry, right? We are the laborers with Yahweh, 1 Corinthians 3:9. So we have to keep working on our wives, on our house, and keep trimming the dry branches, so to speak, right? Which are those habits, those bad habits, those things that are against the word, those bad spirits, right? And see, most women don't want to be trimmed, right? They just want to be seen as perfect the way they are, right? For some of y'all who don't know, I do landscaping, right? I have a small landscaping business, so I cut a lot of trees, right? And when you think about it that way, I always try to compare the word to like real life situations, right? I do landscaping for a living, so I know that when I trim the dry branches or the dead branches off of a tree, it not only makes the tree more beautiful, but what else does it do? It makes the tree grow, right? It grows faster, it grows stronger, it grows better than it would if I just ignored those dead branches, right? It's the same thing with the woman. You really got to trim those things. You have to. As the man, you got to make sure that the woman is trimming those bad habits, those bad spirits, those bad works that are against the word, right? So that she too can grow and she too can be more beautiful through the spirit and in the eyes of the Most High, right? Which goes along with the next one, actually. The next one is elevator, right? Elevator, right? Elevate her, right? We have to elevate our women to be better. Teaching them the word, that's the number one thing. A lot of sisters overlook this, right? If, like I said in the beginning, if you don't have a head, or you don't have a head that's teaching you, you're going to be like a chicken with your head cut off. You don't have no direction. You don't know which way to go. Like it says in Deuteronomy, it says you're groping in the darkness. You just, this, am I supposed to go this way? Am I supposed to do that? You're literally groping. And I've had many sisters tell me this. I don't know which videos to watch. One camp will say this, the other camp will say that. They conflict, they go against each other. I don't know what to believe. They're just groping in the darkness, right? They have no head, they have no direction. So having a man to teach them the word is very important. Having a man to point out where the female, where the woman, where the wife is lacking in wisdom or in marital or motherly or even sisterly duties, right? Not only pointing it out to them, which a lot of men are scared to point out things, right? They won't say, well, look, in this area, I mean, you really haven't been cooking, or you really haven't been teaching our children anything, right? Not only pointing it out, which some men are too scared to do that, you have to also enable them to do better, right? Again, by correcting them with the word and teaching them how to apply that word, right? Not just because we all know people like that. They'll just bark your head off with Bible verses. Yeah, well, this, and this. Okay, but you're going to help me actually apply that, right? As a head, we have to be able to help them apply that, right? And this is how we trim them. Like I said, if you're looking at a woman like a tree, because even in Psalm 1:1, right? All throughout the word, if you go to Ezekiel, if you go to Psalms, if you go to Proverbs, let's just go to Psalm 1:1 for an example, right? Remember, we are his husbandry. We are the Most High's husbandry, meaning we are supposed to be able to grow and raise and water and work on, right? Work on what? In this case, our family, our women, our children. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. So this is just one example, but there's tens and tens of examples where the Most High compares a man or a woman, right? To what? To a tree. To a tree, and planted by the rivers of water. What is the living waters? Again, it's this word, right? So we have to be able to trim our women, right? And water them with what? With the word, right? Because if we're not, then we're slacking, right? We are not elevating them, okay? We are not elevating them in any way, shape, or form, if not. So this is how we trim them and water them as the husbandry so that they can grow, right? So let's get back to this picture. So the last one is the authority, right? The last one is the authority. Hold on, let me go up on the comments real quick. I think there was a question. So Khan, all praise to the Most High. Water the seed and plant and change for growth. So Khan, when you trim your hair, so Khan, yes, kind of like the same thing, right? Some sisters trim their hair just a little bit, whether it be half an inch, and what does it do? It makes it to grow more and more, right? Even faster at sometimes, right? So the last one is the authority, right? The authority. The man has to have authority over the children as the father, and over the wives, right? As a matter of fact, Ak, if you could get Sirach 3:2, we were just on that. We read I think we read 3:3 and 3:4, but if you could get Sirach 3:2, right? So the man has to have authority over the children as the father, and over the wives as the husband and as the head, right? Because even physically, I mean, you look at me, right? Your head is over the body, right? He has to have authority over it, right? The definition of authority is having what is it, like having power to give authority, let me get the definition real quick. Authority, right? Authority, the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. The man has to have the power, right? We can't give our power to women like we read in Proverbs 31:3. He has to have the right to give orders. Look, you are going to follow the word. If you don't like it, then you can get out. Speaking to the children, right? If you don't want to, when my children have done certain things that disobey me, guess what I make them do? I made one of my daughters, my second oldest daughter, I made her write the fifth commandment 150 times, right? Right? The fifth commandment 150 times. And guess what? She apologized and things of that nature. And hopefully that's going to help get her on the right way, right? But we have to enforce obedience. And obedience to what? Obedience to the word, right? Obedience to the word. The man has to have power over his household. But again, according to the word, meaning he has to move and make decisions and enforce obedience to the word, according to the word, right? So this is Sirach 3:2. For Yahweh hath given the father honor over the children, right? And hath confirmed the authority of the mother over the sons. So it says right there, right? The mother and the father have authority over the children, right? So if we read 1 Corinthians 11:3 that says the man is the head of the woman, and this says that, hey, the Most High said that the mother has authority over the children. Well, guess what? How much more does the father have authority over it too, over the children as well, right? He has given authority to the father and the mother over the children, right? So when it comes to children, it is like I see the sister right here, right? She said nurture doesn't only come from a woman. So Khan, I agree with that, right? But it is mainly the woman's job. Mainly, that's her job. If you read Titus, the 2nd chapter, what is it? I believe 3-5. It'll tell you some of the duties of a woman. Also Proverbs 31, things like that. That is more of the woman's job, right? But at the same time, I agree that when it comes to children, it has to be a joint raising up of the children, so to speak, right? Like me, for example, I trust my wife's understanding. I trust her opinions on dealing with the children and her even disciplining the children probably 99% of the time, right? But in the end, I do have the authority because it's my decision on what to do because the man has the authority as the head, right? So before you waste a sister's time, brothers, right? I'm gonna have to go ahead and finish it. What already got an hour and a half in. I thought it was gonna take like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, right? Before you waste a sister's time, brothers, right? To be straight up with y'all, all right? Before you waste a sister's time, before you marry someone and regret it for the rest of your life, sisters, make sure that the man is capable of all of these things: husband, father, protector, provider, controller, elevator, and authority, right? And a head, which goes right along with the husband, right? Can this man be your head? Can he lead you? Can he teach and raise up your children according to the word? Can he protect you according to the word and physically? Can he provide according to the word and provide the word? And financially, can he control according to the word? If he doesn't have enough wisdom, he's not going to be able to control correctly. And that's going to put him in the wrong spirit and you in the wrong spirit. This is a big one. Can he elevate you? Right? Can he elevate you? Because if he can't, you're going to stay stagnant, or what's going to happen is you're going to decline and decrease, right? Can he be an authority, and can he be a head, right? So actually, I'm going to finish with the verse. I'm going to get Ecclesiastes, it's 7:13. 7:13. If y'all got any questions, you can post them up in the next minute or two, and I'll try and get to them. If not, I'm going to finish with Ecclesiastes. I believe it's 7:13. Ecclesiastes 7:13. Consider the work of Yahweh. Consider everything he made, right? For who can make that straight which he hath made crooked? Who can make straight which the Most High made crooked? So going back to the very beginning of the lesson, like we were saying, the majority of men are not fit out to be all of these things, right? The majority of men are not, they weren't created. The Most High made them crooked, man. They're not straight enough to be a husband, a head, a father, a protector, a provider, a controller, an elevator, and the authority, right? So you have to understand this, and you have to use wisdom, right? And you brothers, this is what you need to shoot for, right? All of these things. But we have to be real. Many are called, few are chosen. And if the will of the Most High was to make a man crooked to the point where he cannot do these things, there's no woman and there's no man that is going to be able to make him straight and be able to make him to be all of these things, right? Because, hey, it's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie, right? I know a lot of you brothers know that. It's a lot of work to be a husband, to be a head, right? To be a father, a protector, a provider, to control and elevate and have authority, right? But it is commanded by the Most High, right? It is something that we have to do as men of the Most High, right? So I don't see any more comments. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it with that. I'll give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai. I hope it was a edifying, quick lesson for y'all. I'll get on here again. Actually, most high willing tomorrow, because I'm going to be in San Antonio from Friday to Sunday or Monday, so I'm not going to be able to do any lives. But most high willing, we're going to do some lessons out there in San Antonio, and I'll be posting them up afterwards. Most high willing, get some baptisms done as well. So with that, I'll say Shalom and Yahweh Ba'ashem HaMashiach Yahweh Shai Barakatah to all you sincere brothers and sisters out there. Hey, try to be, if you're a man, you got to be a man of husbandry. If you're a woman and you're looking for a man, make sure he is a man that can be husbandry with the Most High, right? So with that, I'll praise the Most High. Shalom.